All right, so this is Martin chapter 7. In this chapter, we're going to cover the wayyiqtol form of the imperfect, and I'll explain what that means in a minute. See if I can hide this. Yeah. Cover the wayyiqtol form of the imperfect, the weqatal form of the perfect, the directive hey, the demonstrative pronoun, how to use Hebrew lexicons, and how to parse Hebrew verbs. I actually left out 2 slides I have to look up. I just realized that. Wayyiqtol imperfect. If you look at your book at page 78 and 79, this is where he covers this. Wayyiqtol is the imperfect form. So, yishmor, right? Yod, Hirik, Shin, Shwa, Maim, Cholam, Resh, Yishmor, right? So that's that simple imperfect. And what it adds to it, it's a vav, which is conjunction, and a dagesh forte. Before an aleph, which is a good one, like Gretel rejects dagesh forte, it's going to strengthen that patak to a comments. Okay, that's what that first point means there. Before an aleph, it'll be a vav comments. This form is called the wayyiqtol. You actually pronounce the W as a V. You can pronounce it as W, doesn't matter. Wayyiqtol. The root where we get that from is this word right here, wayyiqtol. Okay, wayyiqtol is, I showed you the paradigms from this book here. I actually got on your cheat sheet. Look at the cheat sheet where it talks about cow paradigms for strong verbs. Don't pay attention to weak verbs yet. Just look at the strong verbs here in the middle column. That cheat sheet Becca printed out for you. We'll check. I can get this to you later, Sarah. That first, right here, center column of your cheat sheet, where it says imperfect, third masculine singular, yiqtol, right? That's where wayyiqtol comes from. It's the yiqtol form. He killed. He will kill, excuse me, he will kill with that addition of vav. What this does is when you add that to the imperfect, it's a little confusing, but you'll get used to it. When you add the vav to the imperfect form, that vav comments with a dagesh, that's how you recognize the difference. You're going to see what it's going to do is it's going to go from a future tense, and he will keep, like you see up here on the screen, Yishmor, he will keep. What's going to change to is Vayishmor, and that changes it from a future tense to a more of what a perfect should sound like. It will be, and he kept. Okay, a little confusing, but it's one of the things Hebrew does, and it does it with the perfect too. Some people call this a vav consecutive or a vav conversive. It's just it's something we see in Hebrew. It's usually used in narratives, and so it's like what we saw with Jonah, Vayahi, and it came. Literally, it should have been, and it will come, right? And it will come. Or right here, it should be, and he will keep, right? But this is the vav with the dagesh. We see that right there. We have vav, comments, dagesh on an imperfect, so it actually changes the translation, and he kept. All right. You may have any questions on that? It's a little confusing at first, but you'll get used to it.
So, I mean, that English translation, though, it's changing it to
from future,
okay, from future to a past.
Future to a past, essentially, yeah. Incomplete action to complete action. Perfect to imperfect to perfect. Because we're not when we're talking about Hebrew, we're not technically talking about future and past. We're talking about imperfective aspect, and perfective aspect, meaning completed action versus incomplete action. In English, we say past and future. In Hebrew, we're thinking in the mind of, is this a completed action or is this an action that's going to be completed? It took me a while to get that on future and past out of my head. It wasn't until here not too long ago that I started getting better at that. But that's the difference here. Does that make sense? It's just something that vav does, the imperfect form. It's going to do it with the present too. Any other questions? We good to go to the next slide? Okay. Weqatal. We get that from katal. Same thing on your cheat sheet, middle column, under the perfect, you have wayqtol. That's the cow perfect third masculine singular from root wayqtol, meaning he killed. Wayqtol is the perfect with the simple conjunction. So you don't have you don't have the digestion or anything. It's just a simple vowel conjunction, vowel with a vocal schwa. It's used to direct speech. So mainly this is used in direct speech. The other one's used in introducing narrative. It's used a lot in narrative. And he did this, and he did that, via something, over and over and over again when you're translating to narrative portions of the Bible. When I say narrative, I mean stories, right? I mean like Samuel, First and Second Samuel, First and Second Kings, Genesis, Exodus, those type of portions. Well, this is going to be in direct speech, right? Wayqtol, he killed, becomes weqatal, he will kill. So it's the opposite of what the other one did, right? You're swapping it from a completed action to an incomplete action. This one doesn't run up on you as common, in my opinion. I believe that the other one, the wayyiqtol, is a lot more common. I think this way of learning, it's a lot more simple. The way I learned it is we had to learn the difference between above, consecutive above, conjunctive above, disjunctive. I mean, it was a lot more in this book. This is a lot more simple, and this gets the job done, in my opinion. Just recognize if you have above there in front of your verb form, and especially in the imperfect, you have that digest, it's always going to change from the imperfective aspect to a perfective aspect, from incomplete action to complete action. From here with the perfect, it's going to change from a completed action to an incomplete action. Does that make sense? It's a little confusing at first, but it's something that's very common. Go ahead.
Would you have to, with this one, how would you be able to, I guess you'd have to use context for the rest of the sentence.
Context.
If you looked at it from this, you would.
Well, so this is going to be used primarily in, let's see. This is used primarily in discourse, direct speech. So this wouldn't be in, this probably wouldn't be in a narrative description. So I'm trying to think of a way to explain it to you. So, okay, so back to Jonah, right? That first verse of Jonah, the word of the Lord came to Jonah saying, right? That is narrative. That's telling you what's going on. Verse 2, arise and go. And I believe I don't have my Bible with me. I believe that next verse actually uses one of these because it's arise, go to Nineveh, right? So that second verse is direct speech, a speech from Yahweh to Jonah. So that would be the area where this one would be used and not the other one. So it's getting a little bit deeper in your Bible, right? You're not just reading your Bible and going as fast as you can and trying to get it done in a year, right? You're looking very deeply. Okay, now you're just being able to distinguish in Hebrew the difference between narrative and direct speech. I'm sure that's something you probably haven't really ever thought about when you're studying your Bible. So, but this is going to be primarily used in direct speech. If you're introducing a narrative, it's probably going to be just a simple, and he killed. Sometimes Martin does say it happens for reporting events with a broader narrative structure. So if the narrative goes on and then here at the end, such as in Joshua conquest, maybe this form would be used in the Joshua conquest to show what happened. Reporting of an event, direct speech, but most of the time it's going to be used in direct speech. I can tell you that. Most of the time I've bumped into it is in direct speech. Any other questions on that? I know it's a little confusing, but I think the more you get, the more you mess with it, the more it's going to start making sense. And plus, in context, it's not going to make any sense if you try to translate it the opposite way. So, like, you might come to something like, it doesn't make sense that says he killed, right? It would make more sense if it said he will kill, right? And so we'll start to kind of pick up on, like, that doesn't exactly fit. I wonder if that's a wayqtol or a wayyiqtol. I wonder if that's one of those forms with a different type of vowel working in there. Any other questions?
It is kind of confusing.
It
Like,
is.
even in the book, the difference between and he kept and he will keep.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I hadn't got wrapped up yet.
So there next to he will keep, mark out that that's, you could put future or incomplete action, right? So put that as an incomplete action, and there next to he kept is completed action. That's your difference right there. That's how it's working.
Looking at them, sometimes you wouldn't. You gotta look for that schwa.
Yeah.
Because you don't pick that up right away, you just see the vowel in the front.
Yep.
You could,
Yep. It makes you slow down for sure.
yeah.
What's next? If you go to the next page, Martin has a really neat little thing that he lays out for the Hebrew verb system. He says the Hebrew verb system develops from only two finite verb forms, perfect and imperfect. Thus, these two forms must be usable in many tenses and moods. And the following variations have been developed, and he gives this whole list of how each of these. And so, if you look there at the wayyiqtol 7.4, halfway down on page 80, that's where he has all caps form, all caps usage, wayyiqtol narrative, mainline events. Within the weqatal, he has narrative, habitual, repeated actions, direct speech, exhortation. And so this is kind of that full use of, he takes this from the syntax of verb in the classical Hebrew, hefty Hebrew grammar, I'm sure, in the 90s, if you look down at your footnote on page 80. But this is kind of giving you some of that idea. What does the X simplify here?
Where is any non-verbal element except vowel.
Is that where it says X is any non-verbal? Okay.
It's down in the footnote.
And if you look all the way at the bottom, initial qatal, initial wayyiqtol, he's telling you that those initial qatals, the initial present cal perfects, are using direct speech and past tense things, whereas an initial wayyiqtol is in direct speech, balded, cohortative, and jussive that we learned. May this happen? May that happen? Let this happen, right? It can be either. But he is one of those that he lists there too. So that's not something you need to really memorize right now, but it's a good thing to kind of read over and try to wrap your mind around it. As I said, when you use it, it'll start making more sense. We're going to work through the exercises today, and by the time we get to number 9 on your exercises, we're going to be working through the Bible. So I think it'll start clicking a little bit more once we get there. Let me exit out of this. Can I just share my actual screen? Yeah, let's just do that. And then here. Okay, the directional hey. Martin speaks on this on page 81. The directional hey in Hebrew is a final hey called the directive or locative hey. Directive hey is unaccented, and it may change the localization of noun which is attached. The confusing part of this is it may sometimes seem like it is turning something like it's like that. It looks like a feminine singular ending. That's the problem here because you have comments hey. But you put this on a noun. Aretz is already a feminine singular noun. You have comments hey toward the land. Up here, to or toward the land. Ha wayyiqtol, to the house, to the city. It's something to be aware of. Don't let it get you confused with that feminine singular endings. That's the only problem. You'll be able to discern whether or not it's okay. You'll be able to discern whether or not it's her land or whether or not it's to the land based on context. Okay, because here, I mean, you could say her land, to the land, whatever, but it does look like that feminine singular ending in hope. That feminine pronominal suffix. If you think the feminine singular, it's the feminine pronominal suffix, right? Let's see here. Because the feminine singular ending is commentate. Yeah, feminine singular ending is commentate. But then your third feminine singular ending is also So the difference between this and the third feminine singular pronominal suffix is it's going to be comments hey with a dagesh in the hey. So that would be the way you distinguish this directional hey from the pronominal suffix. So none of those actually look like this. The confusing one is when you're talking about a noun and you're looking at your noun and your adjective endings with the comments. Hey, that's the feminine singular ending on a noun and adjective. That's where it kind of gets confusing. But as I'm looking at these, I think Aretz is feminine. Vayith may actually be feminine. I know Ayir is feminine. Shemayim is a masculine dual form with the comments, hey. So if you know it's a masculine dual form, Shemayim, that comments, hey, should confuse you. Hahar, hahara, that's a lot of hays in one word. I don't know if that's masculine or feminine. I don't remember if Shem is masculine or feminine, but it looks like a lot of these are already feminine, and you can't add a feminine ending to an already feminine word. They wouldn't do that. It's just something that's used in narrative. It's just telling you it's to the land or toward the land. Sadly, just be aware of it. I can't tell you why it's like that feminine singular ending. I honestly don't know.
So you see that right there? Good luck with it.
Yeah, just keep up with it. That's the thing. Sometimes you have to stop and look up stuff. That's why Blue Letter Bible is very, very helpful when you're looking at Hebrew. I don't know if any of y'all tried that yet. The Blue Letter Bible will help you a lot. In fact, we don't get to all of them. Now that we're working through verses, you can start looking at these verses in Blue Letter Bible and use the parsing feature in Blue Letter Bible to be able to parse each one of those words out, understand what's going on. Logos Bible software does the same thing. I think if you spend $60 on the initial Logos starter package, it gives you the Lexham Hebrew Bible, which is the exact same thing as every other Hebrew Bible. And what Logos has is called Logos Morphology. I'll show it to you right now. Logos Morphology does this. So if I'm looking at Jonah, verse 11, you see down here at the bottom of the page, right there, and you can't see it, of course, but what it's saying is, saying it's a vav conjunction, a mar, it's a verb, kal, wayyiqtol. So we just learned that, kal, wayyiqtol, third person masculine plural. It means, I have a little German in there, so it's and, but it means to say or to think. So each one of these words, if you look down there at the bottom, you see a new thing flashes. It'll tell you every single one of these words as you put the mouse over top of it.
That's pretty cool.
That's a very useful tool when you're having to do stuff with Hebrew. You could get in the Logo Starter Package a Hebrew Bible. I'm not exactly sure. You'd have to look that up. You may get it for free, but I know for sure if you at least buy the Logo Starter Package for somewhere around $50 to $60, it'll give you a Hebrew Bible almost certainly. Next thing Mark talks about is demonstratives. Demonstratives in English are this and these, all right? Don't pay attention to this half of the screen. Just look at the top because he doesn't introduce that bottom half. But ze is this. It's a masculine singular, this. Zot is this. That one's used quite a bit. Remember in Zechariah, Zot for the map? You remember that? I think it was what, chapter 4 and 5? Zot, 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 Zot. That's that word Zot, meaning this. That's used a lot in Hebrew Bible. Zeh is used a lot. This man, that woman, this woman. And then ele is these. Ele toledot is used in Genesis a lot. I'll probably run into that as we translate. These are the generations of ele toledot, used quite a bit. So just be aware. I would add these to your vocab because these are very important. I don't know if he adds them to your vocab over here or not. He does not. Add those to your vocabulary cards because they're so common. You just need to know. The pronominal suffixes you can kind of look up. These demonstratives, you just need to add them to your vocab. And it's actually, you have it over here on your cheat sheet. That back page that she gave you. Yeah, that one right there, brother Matt. The one that's up and down, not the one that's sideways. This one up here. Over here on the left-hand column, you have your demonstratives listed out. It gives you even the use of the demonstrative. So it's very, very helpful on your cheat sheet there. All right.
All right, I have a question.
Go ahead.
So they carry a masculine and a feminine, so they're gonna match.
Yeah, it's just gonna match, that's right. So, Zot Eretz, right? This land. Why would we do that? Because Eretz is feminine singular, so is feminine singular, those have to match. You wouldn't say Ze Eretz, you'd say Zot Eretz.
But the plural is either one. There's not two for these.
There's not a different one, yeah, it's used for both masculine and feminine, but they're both plural. Correct. Correct. The things that are being said down here at the bottom, if you look, it gets confusing. Who and he. Those are actually your pronouns, independent pronouns, third masculine singular, third feminine singular, independent pronouns. They can also be that. That's where it gets really confusing and really annoying. And they don't actually have it here on this cheat sheet explaining how that works. You're getting to the point you've built a really solid foundation. Now you're to the point in Hebrew where things are start overlapping and getting a little bit more confusing on like how it's used, but your foundation's there. And so what's happening now is you're just building on that foundation even deeper. So now, in fact, we've covered all verbs now in Cal. All the Cal forms are covered. What the next chapter is, now that we've covered wayyiqtol and weqatal, now we've covered that, all your Cal verbs are done. What we're going to do next, we're going to introduce nifal in chapter 8. And what nifal is it's not Cal, it's nifal. And it's really easy to tell the difference, and I'll show you next week. The only thing you do is just add a noon to the beginning of it. I mean, it's super simple how you distinguish between Cal and nifal. But let me go back here, and then this is my last slide, and we'll work on homework together. The word yesh means there is. It's known as the particle of existence. The word ayin is the particle of non-existence, and it means there is not. These words are needed because the Hebrew word hayi is not used in the present tense. For example, in the sentences like Hamelech Tov, the king is good. If you're I'm reading from page 81, 7.7. Hamelech Tov, the king is good. The present tense of to be is not stated. So it must be supplied in translation. Some situations, yesh and ayin will be used to signify the present state of beings. So yesh derek means there is a way. You don't have to imply it because there's a word that's going to imply what it is and what it's not. Or ayin derek, there's not a way. The confusing part with this is that this yesh and ayin can take pronominal suffixes, and just about everything in Hebrew can take a pronominal suffix. So that's the importance of learning that pronominal suffix chart. Ishka means you are, and ayinka means you are not. So that's actually used quite a bit too. You negate it with lo and all. The phrase ani shema means I'm listening. The phrase ayini shema means I am not listening. Kind of aggravating, but does that make sense? Add those to your vocab cards. Yesh and ayim. Ayim. Yesh and ayim. There is and there is not.
They're already on.
They're already on there?
There is.
There it is, there it is not. Okay, good. As long as it's on there. As long as those particles are on there, you need to know those. All right, so let's look at the Hebrew lexicon. Who all had, did you guys get a lexicon? Y'all have one?
Yeah.
You have it with you? You don't have it with you? Okay. That's okay. Rebecca, do you want to go share with Talia? And then brother and Trey can share with Matt. Is that okay? Or you can share with Aiden, whoever you want to go back there and share with them. So learning to use the Hebrew lexicon is very important. At this point forward, a lot of the exercises are going to ask us to consult lexicons. The ones that Martin incorporates. The words in the lexicon are listed in the order of the Hebrew alphabet. So that's the importance of knowing your alphabet in order, because the lexicon is alphabet in order, right? Learning to use the Hebrew lexicon is not that hard, really. A good lexicon will normally provide the following information about each Hebrew word, the part of speech, unusual spellings of the word meanings, number of occurrences in the Hebrew Bible, and examples from Scripture. This abbreviations will be found at the beginning of each lexicon. The following Hebrew words are in your Hebrew lexicon. List the page number and the main definition. So you guys look up that first one. No kach. Aiden, you look up Olah. And then Brother Matt, you look up Chashak. Chashak. Once you guys do that, if you have trouble looking it up, holler at me and I can help you. Once we do that, we'll start working on exercise 7C together. I need to tear all those off. Got having trouble with that?
Yeah.
What's going on?
The vial point ain't quite adding up.
You might have been looking down here, would you?
Well, you have both, you have one looking at both. So is that a sheen or a seam?
That's a she. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very confusing with statements. When it's a she. Let's just put it right at the top. Sometimes it depends on the editor, sometimes it'll be not, what's that? Right. Yeah, very good. But, so this, page 19, is definition. You see what the definition. If you got all these areas, see how you have all the different spellings, so you should count perfect spelling. You're gonna have different forms, through here. Comparative looks like, your parts looks like, that's what you like to know. So if you're looking at the word, it's this word, and you got to read the Bible, you know, like what's the comparative? Down here, it'll tell you what the comparative is. So like, oh, what's this comparative? But that initially would be rest of the whole string. It should actually do this. You found your lady?
I believe so.
Did you find double jump on y'all's? Okay. What y'all get?
Because
Go ahead.
mine was on page 273, and I believe it is an animal to be offered in burnt offering.
Yes, correct. Ola, a burnt offering. So Ola is burnt offering. The burnt offering, the smoke goes where? It goes up. I think you guys have learned Allah, which means to go up, right? So there's your same root, right? Burnt offering, the smoke's gonna go up, it's gonna Ola, right? So we're gonna offer an Ola, so the smoke may Allah, and they go up. Nochach, who had that one? Nochach. Is you, right, Rebecca, and you and Talia? Do y'all have the first one? What'd y'all get?
It's on page 238, and what minus opposite.
And then Brother Matt and Brother Trey.
Page 19. Restrain or hold back.
You know, it's something ain't quite right. Just mine isn't mine. You look at us. Yeah.
And offered it.
Question.
The vocabulary in the back has the same thing to restrain or hold back.
Yeah, see, we should have been on 19 for the match.
Yeah, he's saying here it's the 19. Yeah. This ain't right. So this should be. You guys would look at it right, because that is the sin. He is translated as sheep.
So, yes, check. That first one, we were kind of looking at.
This is Hasak. He did Hashak with an SH. That's the difference. He screwed up. But yeah, I understand why you looked it up. And the guy that wrote the book did the same thing. So y'all shouldn't feel too dumb.
So ours was on 118.
It is 118, meaning to restrain. That is correct.
This, that may be something like
All right, let's look at exercise. Anybody have any questions about this lesson? You see how to use the lexicon? You just, so that the only challenging part about using a lexicon is whenever you're in your Hebrew Bible, you have to get down to the root word. All right, you can't look up wayyiqtol. You can't look up with the vowel, right? You've got to get down to katal. That's the challenging part about using a lexicon. Sometimes, and we're going to get into this, I think in chapter 10, 9 or 10, No, it's not even that close. I think it's like chapter. Yeah, chapter 14 is actually when we're gonna start hitting this. Chapter 13. Something called weak verbs. 14 is one of the big ones. Initial noon verbs. There's a word called Nathan. Nathan's where we get our name Nathan from. Means in Hebrew to give. Nathan in Hebrew, that noon is going to disappear when you're using in words. Why? They're weak. That's the way they describe them. Pronunciation, that noon is going to disappear. So those have con in. Very difficult. You can't look that up in lexicon because unless you know the root word, you can't go find the root word. You're just gonna have to realize that at that we'll get to that in chapter 14. But you always if you find that root word, you're good. The digital versions are better, like Logos or Blue Letter Bible or Accordance, or I'm trying to think of another one. There's a free one. Right here. Net Bible. It's netbible.org. Just go to netbible.org. And if you go to here, you have Hebrew over here. And it'll actually give you definitions over here too. Exactly what it is. So that's a free one you guys can use if you're interested in that.
What was the name of that?
Netbible.org. Netbible.org. It's free. Of course, Blue Letter Bible is also free. I think Blue Letter Bible is superior.
Now, Blue Letter Bible, that's the one I use. You download the actual Hebrew.
Yep.
Let's see what's going on.
It's better on a desktop computer like this in the browser than it is the app, actually, in my opinion.
Even email them to tell them to take the side translation over.
Is it on there?
I think Blue Letter still carries it.
I heard about that.
National translation is trash.
A bunch of the other apps have taken it off.
So once you click tools, you got this. Tells you it's in the beginning, but then if you do parsing right here, click on that, it'll actually tell you it is a noun, feminine singular, absolute. Here, bara. Click on this. Bara is a cow, perfect, third person, masculine singular. The root, bara. All right, so it actually parses everything out for you in Blue Letter Bible. Very useful and free.
That was under tools.
Yeah, you click on tools. Yeah, in the app, it's a little different. Here, I'd use. Oh, would you tell me how to do this? WLC is the Westminster Leningrad Codex. That's what the code is on BLB Westminster. And so you do that, and you can actually click on each word that way when you swap it over to an actual Hebrew.
Okay, I got it. So
Each word you click on will do that. So Blue Letter Bible is a really nice tool to have and use. It's completely free. You sit there and study Hebrew. Blue Letter Bible also has some like commentaries and stuff that's free. It's a very useful little program, completely for free on a browser, or you can get it on an app. That's it for the chapter. We're going to work through exercises. We're going to start with exercise 7C in a moment. Do all your exercises that we don't do in class. All right, try to work through all your exercises in this chapter. So your vocab on page 83. Let's run through those real quick. And next week we'll just do a vocab quiz again. Page 83. Darash. Darash. He sought or he inquired. Darash. Karat. Karat. He cut off. He cut. Karat. He cut. Right, you cut the carrot. Yarad. He went down. He went down. It's used in Jonah several times. And he went down to Joppa and he went down to the ship and he over and over and over again, all the way until Jonah goes down into Sheol itself, down to the belly of the well, down to the sea, down into depths, down to the pit. Right, Yarad is repeated over and over and over again. You start with Jonah as the prophet, and he keeps going down. Every time it says he goes down, it gets worse. Yerad, Nasa means to lift or carry. Jonah tells them to Nasa, lift him, and throw him into the sea, that they may be saved. Nasa. Nathan, hey, there's that word. Nathan's funny. I don't know if he's going to use that in your stuff or not. But Nathan gets really confusing because sometimes you just have Tav noon there in your sentence trying to figure out exactly what that word is. Hopefully he doesn't do that this early on. Nathan means he gave, so we get our English name Nathan. Asa, he did, he made. Asa. Shalak, he sent. Shalak, he sent. Achar, after, behind, pretty easy. Achar means after, right? It almost sounds like the English. Achar means after. Im means if. Notice that looks like your word with. It's pronounced the same, but it's spelled different. With is ayin here at Kamain. If is aleph here at Kamain. Pronounced the same, but looks different. Im is if. Yesh, there is. Ayin, there is not. Barit, barit, means covenant. And if you go back up to your top where it says karat, he cut off, you karat, barit, that's Hebrew idiom. You'll pick that up in English because in English it literally says he made a covenant. What is it saying? It says he cut a covenant. So anybody know your Old Testament well enough to tell me why it would say cut a covenant?
Because blood had to be shed, right?
That, and then Genesis 15 or 16, when Abraham and the Lord make the covenant. You remember what happens there?
Cut something in half.
Cut it in
Cut the animal in half, walked in the middle of it. Yeah. So when you make a covenant, cut a covenant. So that's the way you'd say to make a covenant. You would karat, barit, barit. You cut the covenant, meaning you practice. You cut the animal in half. You lay a piece over here. You lay a piece over here. And you two parties walk between it. And what you're saying essentially is, may we become like this animal if we break this covenant between us. There with Abraham, Abraham doesn't pass between it. Who does? Abraham falls asleep and that torch comes down, that fire, which is a representation of the Lord. He passes between them. The Lord made that covenant and all the responsibility was on him and none of it was on Abraham. Good stuff. Good stuff. But that's how you say make a covenant. Karit.
Me and Matt were just talking about this,
Really?
like a week or two ago.
Like, that's fascinating, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's New Testament preaching right there, is it not?
So he said, you'll never believe who the first person I ever heard preach yet.
That's awesome.
Great stuff.
Yad is hand. Yad can also be genitalia. I know that's weird, but it's yad is a euphemism for sometimes for genitalia, and some people have argued when Ruth laid at the feet of Boaz, Raphim and Yad, both of those are used. Feet and hands are sometimes used as euphemisms for genitalia. When Boaz laid at the feet, it's not Yad, but it's Raphaz or Rafid. I can't remember the word of it right now. But when Ruth lays at the feet of Boaz, some people think that it was a euphemism that they had sex that night. So kind of interesting. But Yad is used the same way also. Lev means heart. Levav is also the big one, the one that you'll see a lot too. That's what he has in parentheses also. Levav, that's pretty common. It means heart. Nefesh means soul or life. Nefesh. God breathed into Adam, made him a living soul, living chayif, nefesh, living soul. Nefesh also can mean throat. It also has this throat idea. So your life is like if you cut someone's throat, you're taking their life. So nefesh can also have an association with throat. And Rashid, bara, in the beginning I created. Rashid means beginning. So, any questions? I mean, those vocab words. Rashid. We all good? You all ready to work through some exercises? It's only 7:10. So we can take about 20 minutes worth of exercises. That's okay for everybody. Because I'm gonna skip down to number 9. And let's look at those because those are more exciting because those are portions of scripture. Let's go down to number 9.
It's the one that's Genesis 37:33.
Yep, just 37:33, beginning on page 84. Stop sharing. So I could say my battery's on 15%. I don't have a charger. So if it goes dead, I'll just use my computer, okay? All right, 7C, found on page 84. We're gonna start with number 9, and this is 37:33. Did I finish that? Did not.
Curious about how to get all those words into. So I just want to.
It's not the whole verse. I don't think it's the whole verse. What's the
Well,
verse? You are cheating.
I just wanted to see how it
What's the whole verse say?
literally play out. So in the NASB, it says, then he examined it, and said, it is my son's tunic, a wild beast has devoured him. Joseph has surely been torn to pieces.
Yeah. It's only a small part of that.
I was-
Wild beast in the ASB?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I was just curious to see how it would like actually
Play out.
translate, you know what I mean? Like how it read literally in the Hebrew versus how it reads in the
You're
NASB.
about to see it right here. It's our vocab from last week. What is this word? Kaya. Kaya.
It's a karate thing.
It's not, what'd you say?
It's a karate thing.
Yeah, it's not. You might recognize it better if we do this, right? What's that word?
Like,
Yes, so kaya, when you're putting this ending on it, for some reason, it becomes a beast or a living thing. In Genesis chapter 1, the Lord created all the beasts of the field, the kayas of the field. Go back and look at your vocab list from last week. It'll actually tell you, it'll give you this form here, and it'll tell you that it means beast. But it's a living thing, right? So we wouldn't say a living thing, we'd say probably a beast, kaya. So beast or a living thing, right? We don't know exactly what's going on. What's this word? Ra'ah. Ra'ah.
Evil.
Yep, evil. So we have a beast or even an animal, right? You have a little bit of range in there. You could say a living thing, a beast, an animal. We'll just say beast. Evil, an evil beast. Okay. An evil beast. Evil beast. We'll just do literal a beast. Evil. Ekela. What is that? Ekela. Ekela.
maybe 8 or something like that would be the root would be 8.
The call is the root. We'll look it up as we go to check and see exactly what's going on here. What verse is this? Genesis 37.
37:33.
Yeah.
It's
It's weird.
E8.
Would be 8.
So an evil beast, 8. What's this ending? feminine singular English for your cow what?
Account,
No, not imperfect, but
that's perfect.
okay. This is weird. Cow perfect. Feminine singular, the second feminine singular, third feminine singular person, first common, what is it? It's a second and a third.
I could say
No.
third.
Mhm. Cow perfect, third feminine singular, we've already figured out the root. Call. So a beast, an evil one, ate. She ate, literally. So a beast evil, she ate. What's this word? Oh, oh. Those. This is two words put together.
And so just before we can put this sentence, before we put the sentence all the way together, it would be hard for us to know if that wasn't a directive though, right?
So this is a verb, so you're not gonna take it directly.
Okay, right. Yeah, okay.
Yep.
Yep, directives only go with nouns. Okay.
Correct. What's this last word, guys? It's two words, technically. We're gonna translate it. Well, we translate it actually as one word. Go to your chapter on pronoun suffixes.
Yeah.
Page 72. It's on page 72. Yeah. Page 72.
Him or it.
Well, I'll give you the context. This is Joseph, so it's him. Okay. So somebody clean this up. So an evil beast, and beast, kaya, is feminine, so it's gonna take that feminine noun here, or that feminine verb, and that's how it's gonna work. That's why we have that feminine singular thing.
So an evil beast ate him and not she ate him. An evil beast ate him.
Because the she is implied here in the beast. That makes sense?
So what two words makes up him?
This one right here, sir. So this is from our last chapter, we talked about pronominal suffixes. This here is actually your pronominal suffix. That vav,
You have to play hooky hooky.
that vav is your pronominal suffix, meaning him. It's on your cheat sheet. That's the way I'd suggest you guys just try to keep up with the pronouns. You see anything that kind of feels like pronominal suffix, go to your cheat sheet real quick, okay? And this, anybody know what that word is? Untranslatable direct object marker. Good job, Leah. So untranslatable direct object marker. So what we're having is we have subject, beast evil, an evil beast is our subject. This is our verb. And then this is our direct object marker. And it's telling us who the evil beast ate. The evil beast ate who? Him. You'll see that now? See how that sentence is kind of working together?
That's not what my KJV says.
What's the KJV say? Or are you just joking?
No, I did go read it. I read through a bunch of versions just now to see it. And,
See if anyone puts an evil beast?
and
Probably
just,
does.
just to see if any of them just had that simple statement.
What does it say?
So KJV says, and he knew it and said, it is my son's coat, an evil beast, does say evil beast in that one, hath devoured him. Joseph is without a doubt, without doubt, rent in pieces.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that kind of says it. An evil beast hath devoured him. That's what we just said.
Yeah, but all the rest of that
Oh,
was,
so all the rest of that is, this is just a portion.
That we should read.
I thought we did the whole thing. I was like, hang
All
on,
that
man.
jacked up.
They got a whole lot
We
of
did that little part.
Well, that's why I said when I only saw that many words and I looked at the verse in English, I was like,
Literally said
we're only doing a portion of it.
Clearly, I didn't hear that part. I'm going, man, you're throwing my whole theology all out of whack now.
King James and added a whole lot to that.
And so did all the rest of them. I've been sticking up for NASB for a couple of years now. Just gonna have to throw it out too.
You're really gonna have to learn Hebrew, so that's gonna be the only Bible you can
Yeah.
read.
It's the only one you can trust, Rebecca. Nice, good job. All right, this is number 10, which is 1 Samuel 28:4.
Saul
All right, what's this first word?
and Saul.
Good job. And Saul. So that's a, well, I have to figure out that's a subject or what.
Yeah.
And Saul. All right, and Saul. What's this word? Let me
No.
move this, Rebecca. I don't know if I moved with that.
No,
It's everybody's way.
Low,
This word here. Low means what?
like the negate.
It's a negation. So what's negating? It's like negating a verb, right?
Yeah.
So here's our verb. What is this word? Okay, so in Saul,
Did not eat.
shall not eat.
Did not eat.
Yeah. It's because how, okay, take away the negation. How would you translate this by itself? Let's parse it. Parse it for me. Cow,
Perfect.
perfect,
Third masculine.
very masculine singular, and this is the root, right? Okay. So how would you translate cow perfect, third masculine singular normally?
He.
Eight. Just completed action, right?
Yeah.
So if we were to say he shall not eat, what we're doing, we're saying a future incomplete action. So we're going to do a negation of a completed action. He did not eat. So in Saul, I'm going to clean it up. Did not eat, and Saul did not eat. Lechem chal kayon. Kayon.
Bread. That word.
Lechem. This is bread. If I agree with Aiden. Lechem. Yeah, someone I can remember that, but that's Bethlehem. Did I eat lechem? Called or called? It's one of your vocabs. You have learned this one. Put it up in the back of your book. It'll be quicker. Did you use from now on? If you can't remember words, it's easier now since we're 8 chapters in, to not look at it. Go back chapters. Just go to the back, straight to the back of the book. What's gone. That's gonna be the quickest way for you guys to look at words from here on out. Or cheat with your phone like Trey.
I'm just looking at the English. It's not helping me. And I don't have Blue Letter Bible on my phone, so
I'm just fooling with you, dude.
you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I mean, that's just the way I see it.
That's right.
The whole all every.
All every, so Saul did not eat bread all in McCabe,
So.
right? Remember what that is? McCabe? All, what is this word?
All day. He didn't eat all day.
All, literally, all of the day. Hayom,
Yeah.
all of the day. Wait, put that. All the day. We probably in English translation say it's all gonna eat bread all day, right? It's your second first.
Real briefly, break that hyphen down for me again,
McCabe,
okay,
uh,
to disconnect.
M-A. Q-Q-E-S, is that the one?
QQUES?
Okay, is that the way they spell in the book? Okay. Connecting all to this word. Oh, it's a function of it, that sentence. So what's our subject?
So.
Saul, what's our verb?
Eat.
All, eat. What is our direct object?
Bread.
Bread. So how's this functioning? This clause right here. So it's explaining to us. So this would be a, this is giving us further all day. This is giving us further explanation of the time of he did not eat. Right, you see that?
Could that technically be called an
Adverbial clause, I could see that, maybe. I'd have to look it up, but yeah, I could see that. I could see that being like that, maybe. A lot of times they call them exegetical clauses for further explanation, but adverbial, that's not a bad, that's not a bad one there. What says what?
Or he had eaten no food all day.
Okay.
Yeah, that might actually say all night in Hebrew. What verse is that again?
28, 20. So the whole verse is then Saul immediately fell full length on the ground, was very afraid because of the words of Samuel. Also, there was no strength in him, for he had eaten no food all day and all
Yeah. Lo, weqatal, him, quote, fayom. Weqatal, halela. Lela is a word for night. In Israel, you say lela tov. Good night. Lela tov. Let's go with Exodus 24:4. Oh, this is a good one. Here we go. That's a little more difficult verb. So now perfect, this is a little bit more challenging. This is a word you just learned, Avery. Bev. What's this word? It's a vocab in this week.
Yes.
From this week? Okay. Because. Why is it,
No, that's not this week. My apologies.
okay.
It's from previous weeks. Look it up in the back of your book.
What?
I know y'all had it.
I know that. Forgot.
Was it last?
It's to right.
This or last?
You did.
I thought y'all had it last week or this. I thought y'all had it this week. My bad. All right. So your root is katab, right? What's going on over here?
That's wayyiqtol.
Yep.
Yeah, wayyiqtol. Perfect.
Yep. Cow. Wayyiqtol. So wick. So you said perfect, Trey. Is it perfect? Imperfect? You have a performative. You don't have performatives in the perfect, so this is imperfect. What's the person, gender, number?
Same deal.
It is masculine, it's singular. And it's first, second, or third. 3MS, good job. All right, so we translate that as, and so he's written, yeah. And he wrote, that would be what that means. Who wrote? So and Moses wrote, right? And remind me, why aren't we saying and Moses will write?
Because it's wayyiqtol.
Like, so we have the Vav here,
Jeez,
Dagash is gonna change that over to a
completed.
completed action. And Moses wrote, so this is narrative, right? Exodus is narrative for the most part. We have some laws in there and direct speech, but a lot of Exodus is narrative. So this is Moses, and Moses wrote, what's this word? Direct object marker, right? Direct object. This is our subject, right? This is our verb. Okay. Subject, verb, direct object. The direct object marker is telling us the direct object is coming. What's the direct object?
All word, all
Devari, Yahweh.
God's word,
Mhm.
or all over.
So all, let's go all. We're gonna have to look at this. Well, how am I gonna translate these two words?
Word of God. Word of Yahweh.
Word.
Or words.
Mhm. Or is it words? So this one's kind of tricky. Uh, duh, 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 duh. You don't have to get big on this construct. Though, so, okay, that's- What you have to look at the construct.
Chapter 6 of 5.
Five. I think I have a list of construct forms somewhere in that chapter. I guess I'm wrong. Well, anyway, so this right here, the Sarai being used. Sarai is actually telling you that's plural. So it would be Hirik, Yod, main, but because it's in construct, that main drops out. And that Sarai is telling you that that main left, right? Because you upgraded from a Hirik to a Sarai. If I'm not mistaken. Well, I say, I'll check it. Sarai is a long vowel. So Hirik is a short vowel. And Sarai is a long vowel. So your Hirik's what you had in your masculine plural. But when you drop that main, it's going to leave a trace of itself, so you know it left. It's going to upgrade to the Sarai, let you know that that main was there. Okay, so this is your masculine plural construct form of the bar. Words. So this is in construct, then it's the construct state, it's the absolute state, words. Now, with these two words being in construct, the bar Yahweh, all the words of Yahweh, is it all words of Yahweh or all the words of Yahweh? And if it is the words, how are we getting the words? And if it's not the words, why don't we put the words?
No, I think it would be.
There's not a hey. What is Yahweh? It's a noun, right? It's a proper noun. Okay. Proper nouns is the small rule that we went over a few weeks ago. Chapter 5. Proper nouns in construct call for definiteness of the construct state noun.
So they're acting.
Because
Absolute, right?
because it's the absolute state, yes. And so the absolute state is, with it being a proper name, it is kind of definite already. So it wouldn't be all words of Yahweh, it'd be all the words of Yahweh, because this in construct and relationship is going to bring some definiteness to words. You'll see that? So the words of Yahweh. Any questions on any of that? We good on the sentence?
The direct object.
Yes.
You just took on it just a second.
Direct object marker?
Yeah, I think I.
So direct object marker is untranslatable. Right? You don't translate it. it, man, I don't even know what chapter it was, like 3 or 4, maybe, I think was in that area. But what it does is it's a function in a sentence. Just view it as like an arrow pointing, right? What it's telling you is, hey, this is your direct object, right? We actually have a clause here. All the words of Yahweh is actually direct object of our verb he wrote, right? Moses wrote. This tells us Moses wrote what? We don't translate it though. Moses wrote all the words of Yahweh. We actually have a clause functioning as our all right. You want to do one more? You already leave. Well, is this starting to make some more sense now? No. Right now? How about? We have 5 people together. Aiden, Talia, how about you guys work on sentence number? You guys work on number 12 together. And so that's more by yourself. Work on 13. Doug, if you want to do a sentence, you can. You can do number 14 if you feel like it. Do it blind first. Do it blind first. With this number. But it's the verbal form, malak. Yes. Jerusalem. I'll call you Israel. I'll call you Israel. The actual root will be Shalom, Alm, I believe, and that's Salem right there. All right, Yeru. Something about it's a weird word the way it's used. It's so long. It's hard. The Bible. The Grayman, the Grayman. Proper name, like disease or weird proper name or a weird place, it actually puts it in light lettering. So like we have all letters, and then on a place will be light gray font color. That way you can actually recognize, oh, that's not a verb. That's a color. Probably for this one. Yeah. Something of the wholeness or something like that. Translated in Jerusalem. All right. Did y'all have number 12? Okay. What'd you get? That word. David ran on first word.
L,
Uh-huh.
imperfect,
Uh-huh.
um,
What else?
the root is, and
Malak. You going through your verbal root forms? 9 out of some kind. Those first two. Malak. So what about this? You translated it right, but what's that doing? You translated it right. So good job. All right, you guys, you don't have to parse, it's the exact same thing. Al, imperfect, third masculine singular, like all from Malak, and he reigned. We're going to have translation.
That's the story I got.
Hooray, hooray. Okay, and he reigned, and Solomon reigned in Jerusalem. Israel, same thing going on the previous. What's this word? Solomon. Very long, that may be a word from over, over, all, or that one is. All. Easy to remember that in my opinion. All, overall, Yisrael. Um, any questions on these two sentences, guys? No. That Bible I have does do that. But when you're just going through it, the best thing to do, right, is sum it up. Here in this one, it might not be the hardest thing, like, they have the meat, right? So, right, this is my verb. In the back. In the back. My subject is he, implied. So this is my subject. Now, Shlomo. There you go. That thing over here. Vocalize it. I mean, you're gonna look at Jerusalem, Israel, Shlomo, David, Israel, and then finding where they're functioning in the sentence. If they're not functioning as a verb, that helps. That's it. Long stuff, usually a thing. Very, very long group.
Okay, ask a question. Who ran?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. We took out 40 years part of it. That would probably literally say 40 years in Hebrew. You just took it out because y'all knew that. All right, I got those two written up there while I was waiting on y'all, so we'll do those and we'll discuss. They're very similar, kind of like. What's this word? Like, is it for? Remember? Who remembers? That's the question. You have two options. Or imply, right, in the verb. Who remembers here? Is it cool? Actually, I might parse this first. Now, what? Now what? Perfect, imperfect. Okay. What you gotta do? Can you see the root? You remember the zakar? Remember the zakar? Okay. But that's your root. Okay. That's my root word. All right. What I got going around my root? I have a performative. So my performative, I've only actually got an option. And the other, any performative and cows and all. Unless it's a bait. I have a yod as a preposition, right? It's imperfect, now imperfect. What else we got going on? Vav, Vathon, we got Dagesh right there. Is it wayyiqtol? Right? And you don't have to figure it out. Wayyiqtol, WIC. Okay. And then we have Yod, Spirit, Vav, Cholam. We don't have anything down here. We don't have a formative, or we don't have anything. We don't have a preformative. So then we're going to try to figure out which one is the cheat sheet. tell you which one it is. Cheat sheet. Down. Cal paradigm, strong verb. Which one does that matter? Here, strong. Your mouth pointing with your performative, your yo performative. Just looking in three. Yep, exactly. See how that parsing works out? And a little more detail. This one's the exact same parsing. I'll show you more. But the first thing you have to figure out what's moving. Right? Once you isolate your root, you can start working it. Performers, that's where you have to start. The bird. Sometimes it's like, I understand why that messes up. I had to do that. So by his core, and he will remember and remember. You have a like told. Remember, right? We're going to do a perfect test with the wayyiqtol, right? So perfect. He remembers something has already happened. Who remembers, right? What's this next word? What is it? No, it's not about. Elohim. Remembers what the outer Elohim is. Okay, so God remember this word. Okay, you don't know this word. Noah. I want to guess what you know. Noah, excellent. Noah. God remembered direct object marker Noah, right? So God remembered Noah. There, F on here. The F and what's this? And yeah, so we have a second direct object to the verb. I remember Noah and direct object marker. All yeah. All yeah. All living things. Something like that. I love that verse. That's a beautiful verse. This next one's just as brief. Here, same verb. So how would we translate the same verb in the next sentence? Values for same up here. You remember how imperfect, life, old, they're masculine singular, but the root is a car. And you remember who remembered? Elohim and God remembered. What's this word? Direct object, right? D O Berato. Burrito. Burrito. So what's that? Word masculine. That's it. What's this word? Burrito. I remember his guy. If I'm not mistaken, then 24. And all the evil things Israel, right? You see, I think it's neat. I'm marking with these. See that connection right there? How those we're in the covenant, God, Noah. Beautiful stuff. Makes it happen. Thank you, Chuck. Bye, sir.